Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the ThinkComputers Weekly Tech Podcast. This is episode number 376. And as always, we're brought to you by Amazon. Go to thinkcomputers.org/Amazon. Any purchases you make for a little while, give us a little kickback. Doesn't cost you anything, helps us keep the show going. And with me is our host with the most, Bob. What's going on, Bob?
Oh, that was an interesting intro, I'd say. One, I'm using NVIDIA Broadcast again. So if you are in the live stream, let me know if I'm like going in and out, or like my speech, you don't hear it till like I
cut
talk
off
for a second. Yeah, because that's what happened before, and it was like crazy, like using my CPU usage. So I just completely uninstalled it and stopped using it. But then I started using it like today, so we'll see. But if it's bad, I can just switch to the regular.
I mean, it sounded good so far.
Yeah. So you never know how it's going to turn out. So let us know in the live stream or in the comments. Cool. What else was I going to say? Oh, it's the how was your holiday weekend?
Not bad. Like it was fine. Nothing like crazy. I should have gone swimming and didn't. And
yeah,
thankfully the neighborhood pool stays open through the month. But
nice.
Everywhere else usually closes on Labor Day, so there's still plenty of swimming weather.
Yeah,
available.
It's always Labor Day was always like the signal of the end of summer.
Yeah,
sort of.
Yeah, it's crazy though here. Like our weather's finally maybe going to cool down this week, but we've gotten this crazy amount of smoke just like overnight from Canada, like the wildfires. And I was like, oh, it's probably going to make like this awesome sunset tonight. But yeah, I went out to lunch today and walked out, and it was just like this haze, and you can smell the smoke still all the way from Canada. Yeah. It's crazy. Anyhow.
Yeah. There's a really funny meme since I moved to California. It's like, because remember when all that was happening on the East Coast too, with the wildfires in Canada? And there's like a thing that's, I don't know what movie it's from, but it's the guy, he's in a noose, and it's like first time.
Yeah, first time.
I forget. Yeah. But it was, because all the Californians are used to like the wildfire stuff. So it's like, oh, first time.
Yep.
But yeah, no, it's I feel like summer has just started here, which sounds a little weird, but I think it's because like June, July, August, it's like the normal weather. I think August it gets like really, really hot, but all the tourists are here, and like you don't want to go to the beach because it's like, and now that again it's past Labor Day, everybody, all the tourists go back to back home.
People are back in school.
Yeah, back in school, so it's just like you get all your local spots are your local spots again, and it's kind of nice. So, but yeah, I mean, end of summer means holiday season, means that launches are coming, new CPUs are coming. We just had the last GPU launch of the 7000 series from AMD. Just coming up, and that means that this holiday season, I mean, I don't think we'll see new graphics cards.
No, I don't think so either.
We
don't expect like a refresh from NVIDIA or anything. So maybe like the 4050 might squeak out. Holiday.
But like that's kind of weird actually, because it seems like holiday season was like the big launch time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or you get something. So it'll be really interesting to see kind of how that plays out. Because I feel like it would be pretty boring because we've had launches like all through the summer. Basically,
it's been a steady cycle for sure.
Yeah, so should be interesting. But we have a lot to talk about this week. First, like real week. Last week we were kind of covering 2 weeks. This week is just like I said, it's our first week back here, or second week back, but first week just covering a single week. And I'm all flustered, man. I was doing stuff today and running around, so
Oh,
yeah, lots of stuff here. So we'll first start out by telling you guys about our show notes. I always tell you every week, but we do have our full show notes page that has everything that we're going to be talking about this week. So if you want to follow along, it is listed in the show notes. And you can follow along, or if you're listening later, bring it up. You can get more information because we're going to go over stuff, but we may not go into all the detail that you may want. So go ahead, and we have everything that we're going to be talking about right in the show notes. So starting out with reviews, I took a look at another LiveMixer motherboard from ASRock, and I have to say these just look awesome. Like if you look at the photo, let's bring it up here big, but like I mean, look at that. Look how cool that motherboard looks.
or like when they first came out, but yeah, I'm a fan.
Yeah, so LiveMixer from ASRock is really designed.
I think your mic is cutting out.
Is it?
Yeah. Not necessarily at the beginning of your sentences, but even midway through, it was kind of cutting and dropping.
Wonder why it does that. See, that's the thing with NVIDIA Broadcast. It works well, but but here, let me switch my settings so we're off the NVIDIA Broadcast. See, NVIDIA can't do anything.
Hey, I don't know. Maybe you need a 20 series. Mine seems to work fine.
I mean, I have a 3090.
I know. You should be able to handle it just fine.
Oh wait, I changed the wrong thing. Now I can't hear you, Ryan. Awesome.
Well, that's not good.
All right, here we go.
We'll see if Bob can fix this audio here.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so now you'll hear all the background noises, the dog barking, and everything else. But yeah, there's
street racers.
Yeah, it's people flying down the road. But that's the thing with the NVIDIA Broadcast is that was the issue we had before, and it's still again, I have a 3090. But it's I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what it is, and it's like I have a really nice system. I don't think it's anything to do with my system. I just maybe because when I talk, maybe I pause and then
if there's enough of a pause, yeah,
like that maybe. But you can't in the settings. Hold on. Yeah, you can only you can select noise removal and the strength, and I had it turned down to about 80%. But maybe next week we'll try again, and I'll try it at 60% or something.
All right.
But
let's talk about this board.
Yeah, let's talk about this board. Since NVIDIA Broadcast failed me again. So this board, it's made for content creators, live streamers, podcasters, and one, obviously, like I said, look at it. I mean, it looks so cool. You're not going to find any boards that really look like this. For the Intel side of the LiveMixer, they've gone with a purple, which actually looks really, really good. And I think this is going to stand out in any build. I could see this could look really, really good in like a white case for all this to really stand out. But beyond that, you're getting a lot with this board. So we talked about it because we also reviewed the B650 LiveMixer. And the thing that has, and what this one has, is that, Ryan, what do we have? What do I have all around me? I have keyboard, mouse. I got a mic. I got
a lot of audio, USB devices.
Yeah, audio interface that's here. I got my camera. I have everything. And I'm sure Ryan actually probably has more stuff than I do, to be honest. Yeah. All around our setup. And you need USB ports. It's whenever you have a system that doesn't have a lot of USB ports, you need to connect all these things. You have to get hubs. You have to do all this stuff. But this board definitely has you covered. So on the rear I/O, you're actually going to get 14 USB ports. Let's go to the rear I/O here. 14 USB ports.
Good.
A good mixture of USB 2, USB 3, USB 3.2 Gen 2. You have everything on the rear I/O, 2.5 gig LAN as well. So you're really covered when it comes to USB ports, and you get USB ports available via headers as well. So you're completely maxed out with USB ports, which is one thing I really, really like to see for a board that's really focused towards podcasters, content creators. Taltosh in the chat, good to see him here, and Corey's here as well in the live chat. Good to see you, Corey, as well. Happy belated birthday to you. Taltosh said only 2.5 gig LAN. Yeah, that's the only thing as we get into this, the only thing that I didn't like about this board is that it only has 2.5 gig LAN. There's no integrated Wi-Fi. There's a slot where you can put a little M.2 Wi-Fi card in, but off the bat, there is no Wi-Fi, which is a little bit of a letdown on this board. And again, only 2.5 gig LAN. But you are going to get this is a Z790 board, so you are going to get Gen 5 for both your top storage slot. So there is one Gen 5 NVMe storage slot, and you're going to get Gen 5 on your graphics card slot as well. You have your typical heat sinks that are going to come off and reveal all of your M.2s. So there's a total of 5 M.2 slots on this board. You can only use 4 at once because they have a double slot here. So this top slot, one of these is Gen 5. The other one is Gen 4. You can only use one. And those lanes come from your CPU. And then you have the other 3 right here. So there's 5 technically, but you can only use 4. But the rest of them are Gen 4, so you're still going to get super fast storage if you're not upgrading to Gen 5 yet. And then you get 4 SATA ports, which I don't think is a big deal because again, you have those 4 available M.2 slots. Again, USB. There's USB 3.2 Gen 2x2 on the available via header, so you have that for super fast storage. If you're editing video on like a portable SSD, you can have the fastest one available. So I really like this board. It worked really well. It only has a 14+1+1 power phase design, which is a little bit lower than some of the other Z790 boards that we've reviewed. But I think even if you're running like a Core i9-13900K, if you're running it at stock, and even in most overclock situations, you'll still have more than enough power. But I think if you're a real like enthusiast doing some super high overclocks, this definitely isn't a board that I would suggest. And the brands who have those high-end boards that will give you that type of stuff. And the only thing that I was a little bit disappointed about was the audio solution. Again, this is a content creation board. Not the best audio solution with this. It's kind of basic. This does have the EDP port on it, which is something that ASRock has done. So it's right here. That allows you to get a little EDP cable and then connect a screen, which is kind of cool too. So you don't need to use a port on your graphics card or on the board itself. So you have that. But yeah, like I said, I think the biggest thing is the USBs. I think that's where this thing definitely shines, and the overall look of the board in the Gen 5 storage. But I like this board for what it is. It's currently $279.99, so it puts it in the realm of a lot of other boards that have the same type of feature set. Again, I think the biggest thing missing is Wi-Fi. And Taltosh in the chat says, for a content creation board, he'd want 10 gig LAN. I think that would be the biggest thing is the network. Need to have at least, if you're going to get Wi-Fi 6E on this. And again, you can add it yourself, but again, that's another cost. Yep. That you have to do. And for a content creator who may not be, because it is by this little M.2, maybe they're not familiar with that. It makes it a lot harder, so that's the only thing. But I gave it a 9 out of 10. I like it. I really like LiveMixer. I'm really excited for like the next, if they continue this, because we don't know if they're going to continue this LiveMixer, but if they do, I'm really excited for the next generation, because I think these boards were kind of like a test to see how they would do. And I don't feel like they went 100% all out. So maybe next generation.
I'd like to see them integrate either come out with a GPU line as well.
Yeah, right? That's what I did mention that in the review. Yeah.
Because, something like that. And then maybe like an add-in card. We used to see this with like Sound Blaster. They would have like an audio card, and then it'd have like a front panel connector with all sorts of stuff. If we had something similar here, I don't know, like I haven't really thought through this much, but like, something with some extra audio ports, whether they've integrated XLR or something into it, right?
Something like that, outer box. Or a capture card type built in, or better audio solution.
Partner with someone that does that type of stuff and make it a bundle or something.
So I do feel like this was sort of like a test for them. And then I really hope the next one, and again, we could have like, these are sort of positioned as like a mid-range type board. maybe we can have the newer LiveMixer still be mid-range, but then there's like the big one, right? There's a really, really nice LiveMixer that has your add-on cards. It maybe has some other stuff like some Thunderbolt card or so, you know what I mean? Something along those lines would be pretty cool. But check out the review. Like I said, these photographs so well because they're just so cool looking. Yeah, they're really, like I said, really, really cool motherboards. So go ahead and check that out. That was our only review for the week. That brings us to Case Mod Friday. And I wanted your opinion on this one, Ryan, because this one's a little different.
No opinions given.
All right. Well, this is walnut and brass build, which is an all wood case. And this one's done by MXC Builds. And he's done a couple of these wood cases. And the one thing I really like about this one is that it just flows together. Now you can see it in the corners because, in order to get this, I guess you would call it a bend or this curve, if you're using real wood, you can't necessarily shape
I think he made cuts into it so that he could bend it.
Yeah,
right?
like that. Yeah. So you can
I think it's awesome. I do like this. And the integrated metal in there, the brass is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that natural honeycomb design in some of the other structural pieces there. Looks pretty cool.
And this is a case that's sort of like that mesh-alicious case. So I think it just looks, it's real wood, which I like because a lot of these you'll see like the outer part of the case be wood, but then the internal is just like steel, and it just doesn't look like this is wood throughout, which is really cool. And then this sort of inlay of the gold. I like this one. It like I said, it flows together really, really well. And like I said, he's done a handful of these wood builds. We have his builds.gg linked. I believe that we have a builds.gg. Yeah, we have his builds.gg linked.
I think a lot of times the wood ones end up just looking like those are all good. We've seen other wood builds though, where, or at least to me, they just look like a wood box.
Yeah.
And they look like they have no ventilation. Obviously this one being an open chassis is going to have plenty of open airflow there.
And ProArt, ASUS ProArt graphics card in there too. So very cool. I like this one. And we have he has a video for this as well on his YouTube. So we have that in the article if you want to check it out. But I think this one's pretty cool. So go ahead and check that one out. Corey in the chat says Corsair Platform 6 modular computer desk looks pretty nice. What's your opinion? We did talk about this last week, actually. Ryan's a big fan.
I like it. I think it looks cool. I'm afraid of the price.
Yeah, we don't know the price yet. I think that's the biggest thing. There are a lot of brands that do make that's a sit stand desk. So there are a lot of brands that do make sit stand desks that would likely be more affordable. I think it comes down to size. Are you actually going to make use of the rail system to move stuff around, or can you just get like a normal desk and then put a couple put a couple monitor arms? If you're not really streaming, doing things where you have a camera, where you have like Stream Deck stuff, where you need multiple screens, it's going to look cool, but I don't think it's all that necessary for a lot of people. But again, like I said, if you're streaming, it has places where you can, attach their key lights and things like that. But I think for most normal people, and I assume, Corey, you're not doing streaming or anything like that, like you can find a really good desk. Ryan and I were just talking about FlexiSpot. Autonomous is a good brand that we've worked with as well. That makes good desks. But it all comes down to, again, Ryan and I both haven't seen that desk in person, but I think for the normal everyday user, it's probably overkill, right?
Yeah, I think so. I personally, I would love it because, like you mentioned, I've got a key light here, a key light over there. I've got this camera. I have two mic arms right now on my desk, right? One for holding this mic, and then I've got another one that I can use for another camera. I have uses for all of the add-ons and pieces for it. So for some people, it may make sense. For others, maybe not so much.
Yeah, I think that's the That's the biggest thing, because that rail system too would be really convenient to move things around easily too. But I think for most people, even me, like my setup is I set it up and I really don't move anything. The only thing that I change is I put my key light after I'm done like streaming. I take the key light off of its stand and put it away so it doesn't mess up my background when I'm shooting stuff. But if that wasn't the case, like that key light would just be there. So again, like I said, it comes down to use case. We always say this too, and shopping in the store is not so much of a thing, but it would be cool if you could go to a Best Buy and they had a setup, you know what I mean? Or a Micro Center and they had a setup where you could kind of test it out and see what it's about, but you're probably not going to be able to do that. Corey, what I would suggest is if somebody has a video on YouTube really going over it, to do that. And that would kind of give you a better opinion than what we're giving, because again, we don't have it, we haven't used it, we can't speak to the quality of it or how it all works. So I assume there's videos out there, or there are going to be videos out there on it. So that's what I would do for sure. So hopefully that answered your question on that. We'll move right into news. Big thing, of course, AMD officially launched the Radeon RX 7800 XT and Radeon RX 7700 XT. We did go over this last week, but the RX 7800 XT is a 16 gig card, while the 7700 is a 12 gig card. Brian, you messaged me this morning and you said you were slightly disappointed because you were thinking about buying the 7800 XT. We had talked about this. So
right.
why are you disappointed?
So I didn't get a ton of time to read all the reviews and watch all the videos, but from my initial just kind of viewpoint, a lot of, and I kind of go back and forth on this point. A lot of folks were saying that it had similar performance to the 6800 XT, which is previous version card, and they're at the same price level, right? Well, launch price of the 6800 XT was another $150 than this is, right? It's obviously come down in price since it was launched. So you've kind of got that, this doesn't feel great buying a card that's performing just as good as last generation at the same price, right? But then again, it's performing pretty well against the NVIDIA 4070, which is a decent amount more expensive than this. It's got the 7800 XT also has better energy efficiency, right? Lower power requirements. Has that extra GPU memory or onboard memory with 16 gigs. So I'm still kind of, I don't know yet. I just wasn't as excited about the results as I was hoping to be. But then again, like I'm still on that 2070 Super. It's going to be a vast improvement over what I have. And I should probably stop thinking about, oh, this isn't as good as the last generation of AMD card when I'm sitting on an NVIDIA card that's 2 series old. Like anything I get now, current, is going to be much better than what I got right now. So, no, I'm still definitely considering picking this up.
All right. Well, I mean, going back to the numbers, you talked about the 6800 XT. We didn't get this card into review, so I've only read reviews. Obviously, we always say Tech Power Up. Those are the guys. If you're looking for a written review, those are the guys that I always read those when I need to reference numbers, because they do a great job. They test like 30 games, like really, really good stuff. So, this is where I'm getting these numbers from. The 6800 XT, it's only 3% faster. So that doesn't bode too well. 3% better over the previous generation. I feel like if this was an NVIDIA card, there would be a meltdown of people.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure.
If that's the generational, and this is without any of the FSR and everything. This is just pure performance.
Right, pure performance.
It's double the performance of the 5700 XT, and that card seems like ancient at this point, but it's double the performance of that. If you compare it to the RTX 4060 Ti, the RTX 4060 Ti is about 25% slower. So as you said, it doesn't, in pure performance, it's not all that bad if you consider the prices of the NVIDIA cards. Now, the only thing that, again, you're getting a lot of software, FSR stuff, and obviously NVIDIA, their big thing is, all of their software type stuff, their DLSS 3, and again, all these things. But it just seems like, NVIDIA, most would say NVIDIA sort of changed course on the 40 series, where it wasn't about pure performance, it was more software enhancement.
Absolutely.
And the performance bar per se without software was set lower, and the prices, most people expected more performance based on the price, and now it just seems like NVIDIA set the bar low, or expectations low, and I feel like AMD is sort of following suit, because the bar is set lower now, right? So for the competition, they don't have to do as much, right?
I feel like they could, though. Like, why not? Like, catch up or surpass your competition. Would be awesome.
Yeah.
But I agree. Yeah, we're seeing a lot more advancements with, AI technologies, if you will, and just these fake frames and frame generation, shenanigans with what we're seeing, right? Yep, absolutely. So less raw performance.
And it's, again, I feel like if this was an NVIDIA card, there would be a meltdown of people, because if you're telling me that, say the 40, this is like I'd say the 4070 was only 3% better than
your
the
previous
3070. Yes, you at least want 10, right? You want 10 on the low end. You probably want 20, 25 if it's really great, right? But yeah, it's kind of like this. Like, I remember, and I've told this story so many times, but I was so excited about that little R9 card, the little one that from maybe it's probably 10 years ago at this point.
I remember.
And it was super excited, and it looked great, and the performance was supposed to be good. And then the reviews came out, and then you were like, and I feel like this is sort of, it's not as bad, but it's sort of the same. The stock card, the reference card from AMD, got smoked in a lot of reviews too. The cooler is kind of loud, which it's an AMD thing. And the cooling performance isn't as good as well as the aftermarket cards. A lot of companies aren't making aftermarket cards. I just feel like this year is sort of a disappointment.
Well, I think quite a few folks are making 7800 XTs.
No, they're not using the reference design.
Correct. Yeah. Reference cards, I think only one company so far has shown that they're going to. I think was that Sapphire?
Yeah, I think Sapphire's the only one. Yeah. So yeah, in the 7700 XT, you can, like I said, look up all the performance on that. I think everybody was really excited about the 7800 XT,
especially when there's only a $50 price difference between the two.
And we talked about it just like with the 7900 XTX and the XT was like, you just get the higher one if it's not that much. So this is the last card in this generation from AMD. You probably won't see anything new till spring.
Maybe even this time next year. I don't know.
I wouldn't think
spring seems pretty soon. But then again, you
would see like, for a while. Leaks,
sure.
As maybe Christmas CES time, and then like a Computex launch. Maybe. Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, that's it for this generation. And again, that's also it for the NVIDIA generation, right? So if you're looking to buy a card, this is all you're going to see for a while. So the field is there. Your choice. If you had a choice, with your own money. So say you're spending your own money. You don't have unlimited funds.
Yep.
With your own money, out of all the new cards, so you can't pick an old card. either the 40 series or the 7000 series from AMD. Which card? And again, you're spending your own money, so keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Which card would you buy?
I think I'm going with the 7800 XT.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a $500 card, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would probably.
Alto says 7900 XTX. Like, that's a great card. I just don't want to. I still can't get past the hurdle of these prices.
Yeah,
right? Like that's
a
just
tough thing.
an insane price for a GPU for me.
I
So
think
just
I
won't do it.
would. I think, and you know, again, if I was like, because I have a 3090, and like Corey said, Corey has a 3090 too. You know, that's going to serve me for a while, I would say, for what I do. But if I was building a new system now with my own money, I think I'd get a 4070 Ti.
Yeah.
I think that is a solid card overall.
Oh,
I think
absolutely.
I think out of the entire 40 series, it's the best price to performance per se, without going crazy overboard on price. How much is that? The 4070, let's see. 4070.
It's 800.
And so it's 800. So yeah, so that's kind of like where I would be, like 799.
It's like, is it $800 worth of performance better, or $300 more?
Yes.
Okay.
I guess. How much is it right now, though?
I'm gonna guess it's probably pretty close to that.
Yeah, probably. Let's see. I just take a 4070 Ti. Jesus. I'm like looking at Newegg right now. 929, 869, 849, 799.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah. 819 MSI.
Yeah.
The Strix is almost 1,000.
Yep.
Yeah, but I really like this card. Like I got to test all of the 40 series cards. And I really like the 4070 Ti. I just did. And a lot of the so as you go down the product stack when it comes to NVIDIA, like you want your Strix, right? You want your and I think 4070 Ti, you'll find all the models as you go down to the 4070 and especially the 4060s. You know, you don't get those high-end models that you may want if this is a card that you're gonna spend a lot of money on. Sure. So that would be my choice. But so yeah, so those are out. Yeah, that's all we're gonna see for a while. So I feel like GPU world's gonna be a little bit boring for at least a good while. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
So yeah, so that was the sort of big announcement. Talking about graphics cards. Here's one that you wouldn't like this card. GALAX.
Why?
Well, because it's an AIO. GALAX announced RTX 4090 metal top GPU that's all white. That's an AIO 360 AIO on the card. The cards, I mean, obviously, because it has like that integrated, everything's integrated. It's not all that.
No, it's pretty small
for a 4090, which I kind of like. I don't necessarily like just this plain.
That top, I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, that's the bottom section, so you're not even gonna wait. Yeah, you're not even gonna see that. So, yeah. Well, unless you mount it vertically.
Yeah.
If you look at those fans. Oh wait, the other one. Go back to the other. Go back to the other image. Look at see where the GPU bracket is, though.
Yeah, that's weird.
It would make that the bottom. Whatever. Anyways,
in any case,
are those fans? Look at zoom in on that. Those almost look like Cooler Master mounting hardware. You know how they have their long thumb screws? Yeah. I wonder if they paired up with them to be the OEM on the cooling solution.
Possibly. Very, very possibly. But yeah, I like it. I think a lot of people will be upset that there's no RGB lighting on the fans because they're just all white. I really like these like AIO cards. So like, if you like, how cool is it that it has all, you know what I mean? That they built this out to have everything all in here, you know, like that's.
I don't necessarily mind it by any means.
Yeah,
but yeah, I like, you know.
Yeah, there's no price on this, but it's gonna be expensive because it's a 4090 and you're getting a 360 AIO. Taltish says I let him down. Why did I let you down? How did I let you down?
Probably because you didn't choose like a 4090.
Well, I'm spending my own money. I don't want to spend $1,600, you know, on a.
Yeah.
on a card.
But you're ThinkComputers Bob, man.
Yeah, no, I think if I would, what was the last dual GPU NVIDIA card? I wanted that really bad. I almost bought it. It was like $2,500, I think.
Oh, I don't know.
Whatever that card was. Look up.
It wouldn't have been worth it.
Dual GPU NVIDIA card is like the last one. I almost bought it because I really wanted it. But I'm sorry I let you down that I didn't choose a higher end graphics card. But the 4070 Ti is I like it. Did you find that, Ryan?
I'm looking. No, I don't want an AI powered experiment, Google. It's like
It might have found it faster for you.
All I find is like using multiple GPUs, but there was the 7950 GX2, maybe.
That might have been it. Here we go. Yeah. The rise and fall of multi-GPU graphics card. Are you looking at that article?
Yeah.
Whatever it was, that's the one that I wanted, and it was super cool. The 690? No, it wasn't a 690.
7900 GX2, GTX 295.
I think
or GTX 690.
Was it? I don't know. Anyways, we won't waste time on looking this up, but yeah, that was the GPU that I was like I really wanted, because I mean, dual GPU, PLX chip, super cool. But I'll talk about other cool things. So when we were at CES, we saw Gigabyte's implementation of those motherboards that had the connectors on the back, and they also had a graphics card, and that graphics card just had connectors on like the opposite side. So when you connected your PCI Express cables, it would just go through the back of the case.
More hidden. Yep.
Yeah, more hidden, right? Well, ASUS is also doing this like no cable thing. And they've developed their own sort of power connector for your graphics card. So when you plug it in to your motherboard, it's going to give it up to 600 watts of power through the board.
So actually the GC-HPWR, I believe, comes from like workstation and server boards. But they're just starting to utilize it in their GPUs, or at least, considering making that an option. But I'm pretty sure that came from a server environment. Okay. Anyhow. But yeah, offers up to 600 watts.
That's awesome. This is what your graphics card would look like. Again, no cables. That's this whole thing that we've been seeing is no cables, right? So this is what the connector on the board will look like. So you normally have your PCI Express X16, connector, your normal connector, and then there's this finger on the end that has a special connector on the board, and that's going to look like this. Oh, it's a small picture, but you can see it right here. That's going to be the extra connector that's, right in front of your main PCI Express slot. That could do up to 600 watts, which is kind of crazy that's going to be going through the board.
Well, I think there's like a connection on the back of the board to supply to the motherboard as well.
Okay. Yep. So that's their implementation. I like it because I think that when you eliminate so with the Gigabyte solution that we saw, you have to get the correct case, and things might, cables from your power supply might be just like off a little bit or something. This just solves everything, right? Everything, you plug it in, you're good to go. There's nothing that you have to connect to the card itself, which is awesome. And it makes swapping that card so easy, right? You just take it completely out. Like when I test motherboards, I have a 3080 that has, 3 8 pins. I got to unplug every time. And this would just make it so easy that you're just plugging it in and you're good to go. So that's pretty interesting. And here's like a diagram of the connector and how everything works if you wanted to check it out. But do you think this will be more than just a sort of niche thing?
I don't know.
Do you think, like, say 10 years from now, is this going to be how all graphic
doing this?
Yeah. Do you think that would be a thing?
if GPUs keep requiring more power, possibly, yeah. And are they doing this just because of the 40 series power connection issues? Right. I'm sure
I
they were working on
no.
this ahead of that, but it just like pushes them more towards this type of design to say, hey, you know what? If you can click this in, you're going to be good, as opposed to,
Well,
hey,
I
you might
think
not
that
get this cable inserted all the
to
way.
all of this sort of started around the idea of no cable,
Just a
like
stealth build.
yeah, stealth build, and they moved the connections on the motherboard to the backside. And then I assume Asus is like, okay, well, what if we can't hide these if you get this card, because like our power connection on one card is at this space, and then our power connection on another card's in another area. Like we we don't want to maybe we don't want to offer just one card, right? We want to, because I think with the gigabyte, like you're limited to like one SKU, and like maybe like a 4080, maybe you couldn't get a 4090 just because they're not making that one that has the connections on the other side, right? So with this, you could get all the SKUs. Who knows? But I think it's pretty interesting. We'll kind of see how that all goes, with this. But pretty cool to see it detailed and like see how it all works together. So I think that's going to be pretty cool there. Talto said this in the chat earlier. One of the Starfield Radeon RX 7900 XTXs and Ryzen 7 7800 X3D bundles, the Starfield bundle, was on eBay. And I think it ended, but it was like
A ridiculous amount.
yeah, it ended on the 5th, but $5,400 for that. There were only 500 of these. So I don't know why Taltosh didn't bid on
Yeah,
this.
I didn't pick it up.
But yeah, it is you have to admit it is a really cool bundle, especially if you're like super into the game. And I think they did an excellent job on the actual graphics card. Like the graphics card, when we showed the graphics card, but it is a really cool looking graphics card.
It's very similar, like design wise, though, to
Wait,
the
is there another one up here? Is this a
factory
different?
system, a factory card.
Oh, so there's another one that's for 3,000 currently.
Oh, that's all.
Yeah. So, but this one went for 5,400, which is
they're only making 500 of them. So,
oh, that's what I mean. Yeah, there's 500. So it is a limited edition thing.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Also in the Starfield realm, they partnered with Elgato, and I thought these are actually pretty cool as well. So the wave mic that you're using, you can get the wave mic Starfield themed, and then the Stream Deck Starfield themed, which I think is really cool.
It does
Like
look pretty good.
you could have a Starfield build, right, with the
Sure.
AMD parts, and you could do like a white case, something like that, and then you'd have the Starfield Stream Deck and the Starfield wave mic with a white mic arm. You could just be all Starfield out. I think that'd be pretty cool. You
could.
So really cool stuff there from Elgato and Starfield. You didn't get the game, did you?
No, but that's another bonus. Like this is a game that I, would consider buying if I pick up a 7800 XT. Oh, yeah, you know what? I don't know if they've actually included it with that. I'm pretty sure they are going to expand their offer though.
Yeah.
I think you can get a copy of the game for free. So why not?
Yeah, that is another thing. Yeah, I haven't Taltosh said he was having some issues with the game monitors, resolutions. I haven't looked into it. I haven't really watched anybody play it because I've been so busy this past week. But yeah, pretty interesting to see how well that game does. It's probably this year's most anticipated game launch. Is there any other game that is more anticipated than that? I don't think. I think the next biggest game would be the next GTA, but that's not coming out for a while. So
maybe if there's like another Witcher that comes out, but I don't know that we've really heard of like a Witcher 4 or anything. But yeah, so it looks like they did update the list because I had just looked the other day. The RX 7800 XT and 7700 XT are included for that premium edition. which is pretty nice.
Nice. So you get Starfield if you bought that. So
Yeah.
that's another reason to get it. So we'll be seeing you with a new graphics card next week. Cool.
Because I mean, that's let's see here. What is that on Xbox? That's $100. Is that right? $70 for. I mean, that's a pretty decent value.
Yeah, it hasn't been often we've had a really great AAA title.
That's $100 game for premium.
Yeah.
So now it's like, okay, this is a $400 card.
Yeah.
I spent $400 on the card and $100 on the game.
Now, but the thing is, are you going to play the game? Like more than once?
I don't know.
That's the thing. Are you going to get your $100 out of that or not?
I wish it was multiplayer, but yes, I would.
Yeah. We have somebody in the chat asking no DisplayPort signal on my device. That's a very
be a million things.
Yeah, it could be a million things. We don't know what device you're using. We do. Yeah.
Check your connections.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. You have to kind of be a little bit more specific if you want us to assist you on that. But going back to what also was announced this week, we saw leaks. We had talked about it for a while. And I thought it was going to be a little bit longer before like there was an actual launch, but it's now official. Lenovo Legion Go. It does have the disconnectable connections here. Yep. OLED display, everything that we talked about that was in the leaks is true on this thing.
Did we determine if that was a touchpad on the thumb on the right section, the little square?
I believe it is. That's the only thing I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean it's a cool little device, and I think these are going to keep on getting better as there's more mainstream competition, right? Steam Deck, ROG Ally, now this from a big company. You do have the Logitech one, but the Logitech one is more of a cloud streamer. It's not a powerful device, but it is a portable gaming device. And maybe you could see Logitech actually coming out with a one that has real hardware in there. But this also, like we talked about it last week, the AR glasses thing. Yeah. I would like to use them, but they are here. So these are called the Lenovo Legion glasses, which are AR glasses.
Well, maybe we'll be able to check them out at CES.
Yeah, how they actually how they work, and if it does give you that, as they say, big screen experience. Because again, I mean, I believe it's an 8-inch OLED, but yeah, and then they have headphones that come with it. There's a video if you want to check it out and see what it's about. I think this might do okay, but I don't think it's a big of a hit compared to the ROG Ally, because we talked about this last week. Is everybody knows Lenovo, but nobody knows about Lenovo Legion as much. I don't feel that I don't feel they do the right marketing for that gaming brand, right? I wish they did, because I feel like they have they have everything that they need to build great products. And it's not like this product is bad, but I just don't think people
know about it.
Nobody knows about it. And nobody thinks when you hear Lenovo, you think ThinkPad, probably. Right. Or you think laptop. Or a laptop, right? You don't think gaming. And when you hear Legion, if I didn't review Lenovo products and wasn't in this space, I would have no clue, right?
Right.
But when somebody who's maybe not in the space hears ASUS, if they typically they hear ROG, like they know about it. They hear Razer, they know about it. They hear Alienware, like they know what it is.
Yeah.
There's just the brand recognition for the gaming section of their business is pretty non-existent.
Just isn't there yet.
Yeah. That's the only thing, but I think it's great to see these little devices. I think this one is probably really, really good based on the hardware that's in it. I like the idea of the detachable controllers like you have on a DS. So you could be like this. Oh wait,
that's Switch.
But the other leak had a picture of somebody like on using the AR glasses with it. Just playing with it. So I think it's a great piece of hardware. Maybe we'll get to see one and see what it does. But it'd be, like I said, I'm waiting for somebody to compare all three. I think that you would say those are the three biggest, right? Would be the Steam Deck, the ROG Ally, and this would probably be the three big ones, right? So it'd be nice to see a
at
good
this point.
comparison of all three of those. So yeah. And then talking about Logitech, they announced two new products. The mouse was the one that everybody was super excited about. They announced their Pro X TKL Lightspeed. That's a wireless keyboard TKL. And then their Pro X Superlight 2 gaming mouse. So their original Superlight was super, super popular. This is the new one. What is the 60 grams on this, wireless, uses their new Hero 2 sensor, which is a 32,000 DPI sensor. Yeah, I mean, it's just this super light mouse. And again, the keyboard wireless has their double shot PBT keycaps. It has their switches, so their GX switches. You can get browns, you can get reds, and you can get in blues. So yeah, if you're, like I said, if you use these products, again, I think everybody was really excited for the new edition of the Superlight.
I used to be such a Logitech guy.
Same.
Like, that's all I would have for headset, keyboard, mouse. Like,
Yeah.
that's all I was buying. And then I just stopped. I don't
You
know.
went to like, I think I was too, and then I started, like, Corsair came on big on the scene with their keyboards, and they were like a complete departure design wise. And I do feel that Corsair's design is dated now a little bit.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's like a perfect opportunity for some other people to come in. Then you have all these custom keyboard designers, like, again, like the keyboard that I have. That's just like,
there's so many too.
There's so much stuff. And I think that again, I think Logitech does a good job because all their stuff is very well made. Their software works good. And again, they have the brand recognition, which really helps them as well. But yeah, I think that Corsair needs to come up with a new keyboard, right? Like a new line of something or whatever. But yeah, there's so many of these out here. But again, check out there's some videos on the Superlight on YouTube. You can check it out. It's a really cool mouse. So we have that. And then game that I'm actually probably gonna get, Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2.
Oh, yeah.
Super excited. New extended gameplay trailer came out, and I watched this and I was like, hell yeah, like I want this game.
Yeah, I didn't watch this.
Mute it. But like the gameplay and everything going on in the background is just like, it brings you back to, like,
I didn't play it, but it reminds me of like Gears of War.
Yeah, very much like you're playing in this, and this is all gameplay, right? This is not like a demo or whatever. This is all like real gameplay, and it's just, again, I just think it's just, man. I remember playing the first one, and it was just like so much fun and like so gratifying, like killing these things, and it's really cool and bloody and all that kind of stuff. But check out the trailer. It's 9 minutes long. I mean, it shows a good amount of gameplay. So if you're wondering like what the gameplay is going to be like, what's the graphics going to look like, what are the levels going to look like, and I think the thing that I really loved about the original one was like you felt like you were in the game, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah,
like,
it was immersive.
Yeah, like you feel like you're in the game, and you feel like,
well, these camera angles are kind of cool as it shifts around, like.
Yeah. And you just like felt like you were in a story. And I think it's very hard to get that now because all these games are about multiplayer, right? Like that's their focus. They're not focused on the story as much. And I've said this a bunch of times. That's why I'm excited for this game, because this game will allow me to just like detach from like real life. Because even when you're playing multiplayer, like you're playing with people, you're talking to people, this I can be like totally immersed in like the Warhammer realm, right? And that's what I'm really excited about. So yeah, check it out. We have it linked in the article, and I'm excited for this game. So it'll be be cool to play that. Maybe like we'll all get it and we'll all play it together because you can play, I think, 3-person co-op on that too.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool. And that is it for news for the week. Coming up next week, we saw this product at CES actually. This is from Patriot. This is their VXD, which is an M.2 portable enclosure. So you put your M.2 drive in here, turns it into a portable SSD, USB. Of course, it has some RGB lighting on there. But the one thing I like about this is that you can put any SSD, any M.2 in here. So
Patriot.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be Patriot. And again, if you're upgrading, say like Ryan, or even when I did, like you get new platform, you get faster drives, your old drives, you can sell them, you can give them to a friend, but you can repurpose that and put it into this enclosure. And then you have a nice portable SSD where you can you're shooting video or photos on vacation, you can dump them really quick so you don't run out of storage on your SD cards. It's really cool. So we'll have that for you next week. And then we'll also have, and I've had this for a while. I just haven't got around to reviewing it. So I'm fine because I bought it on April 4th.
I forgot. I saw this in the show notes and I was like, I thought you bought this a while ago.
Yeah, it says purchase April 4th. Like I bought it April 4th. And I actually bought it to review it because
that's interesting. Did they update the title or the listing title? Because I remember you reached out to inquire if this was designed by Cooler Master.
It was.
Or partnered with. I think we didn't know that at first, though.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, because it says with Cooler Master technology. Yeah, so this is Amazon is making a CPU cooler. And I do a lot of air cooler reviews. I know they're not as popular as some other stuff, but I actually really enjoy them. And I really like to see when companies, make good air coolers because I'm a huge air cooler fan. And I saw this and we saw it and I was like, I want to buy it to review it. So I'm finally getting around to doing the review. And it's one of the least expensive air coolers, $28 right now. Amazon Basics CPU cooler. Nice. And it looks a lot like.
You can have another one overnight, it looks like.
Yeah, I can. Yeah. I'll buy you on it, Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, we'll have that. So that'd be kind of exciting to see how that does and if it's worth picking up because I'm a huge fan. Like these air coolers that may not be expensive. We took a look at a couple over the past year that were like $30 to $40 range that you don't, and they performed actually quite well. So we'll see how this one does. I'm excited to test that out. So that is what's coming up next week. Any tech related stuff you've done this week or wanted to talk about?
I don't think so. I have this Epson photo scanner I'm going to be just like using on the side, not for the site or anything, but excited to test it out. Yeah, that's about it. I finally hooked up another like light bulb over here. You can kind of see the purple glow.
I did see that.
Just adds a little color. I don't know. Right now it's just a light bulb just sitting there.
You can't see it as much because I have the door open and it's light out still here. But typically when in the wintertime, because I have the door closed because because it is 1,000,000 degrees in this room. Adding that backlight, especially for videos, is just adds a little something.
And I've been meaning to do it. I forgot that I had this extra color bulb because I was looking at some Govee lights at Lowe's when I was there the other day. But I was just like, man, I don't know what I want yet. So I just didn't pick those up. And then I found this while I was looking for something else and threw it in a lamp.
Corey in the chat says, when does the game come out? I think he meant Warhammer. Let me look.
I have no idea.
I don't know, but you can pre-order it. I think it comes out like for holiday, right? It wouldn't come out next year. That seems too long. Let's see.
Yeah, I don't know.
Space Marine 2.
So yeah, I'm like, I don't know. I'm kind of like
says late 2023. There's no date on that. So
just still trying to decide whether I want to pick up this 7800 or not.
It is a difficult choice, especially for you because you have that water cooled build. So there's a lot of
changes. That's the other factor is like that's a couple hours worth of tearing everything out without making a mess.
Yeah.
And then putting an AIO or other cooler back on the CPU, setting the other GPU to the side. Yeah. It's a lot of work to swap that out. It's not like I could just swap GPUs and be done,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And I'm not gonna like replumb the thing to be like liquid cooled, custom liquid cooling on the CPU, but just regular air cooler, right? I'm just gonna throw an AIO in there, especially because I do want to have that other build at some point, you know, in the smaller form factor case. So, and that GPU will go in there. This CPU will go in there. Different motherboard, but
yeah, it's always, like I said, when you're doing an upgrade, it's you're really excited, but then when it comes time to actually swap out parts or do your build, you're like, oh man, yeah. So, but I'm excited. I mean, I think if you do get that graphics card, the 7800 XT, it will be good for. It'll be a good card for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's basically it. I don't think I've done anything else. GoPro announced their Hero 12 today. It's not. It's yeah. They're like a trickle down. So what GoPro does, and this happens with a lot of companies, is it seems like it's 3. So sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's 4 cameras. So like Hero 10, 11, and 12 are all based on the same hardware for the most part. So you get the same sensor, you get the same chip, and you know, the 11, like from the 10 to 11, you get maybe some feature that they add, but they're mostly adding it via software. Like you're not getting, you know, they'll add a new resolution, but that original sensor could have always done it.
Could have supported it, yeah.
Yeah, so like it's the same. It seems like it's the same thing with the Hero 12. I haven't really looked at any reviews, but from what I've just saw, it's like, yeah, this is kind of what you're getting, which makes sense because I feel like, and this started a while back with GoPro, is like every year, just like iPhone, like every year they have to have a new phone, right? Like every year. And for a camera company, that is a little difficult. So yeah, so that's the only other tech related thing that that kind of interested me this week. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I really don't think so. No, that's it. So we are going to jump over to Twitch. Ryan will have that stream up, twitch.tv/ThinkComputers, playing some Apex. I'm excited to play some Apex. If you guys if you weren't on the stream last week, I finally got my shards. What are they called?
Yeah, that's cool. Your crafting shards, or let's see here. I've got the picture right here. Your mythic,
my mythic
heirloom shards.
My heirloom shards, which I haven't even used.
Well, now you got them, and you're like, what do I spend them on? Because you can only get one thing.
Yeah, so I probably won't do it this week either. But I'll eventually figure out what I'm going to use them on. And
it's like a tattoo, right? You're like, this is permanent.
It is. It's a permanent thing. So we'll be over there, twitch.tv/ThinkComputers. We appreciate everybody who came out, everybody in the live chat, Taltosh and Corey in the live chat. And like I said, head on over to Twitch, and we will see everybody next week.